Hi, my name's Castagna. I'm 18 years old and I have epilepsy. I was diagnosed when I was 12 years old.
So, how does epilepsy affect you?
Epilepsy affected my social life by quite a bit, and it affected my abilities to perform in school, definitely, and it also affected me um, in a lot of ways trying to hold a job. Um, but really, I could go on. There's a long list, but too long, too long.
What obstacles have you had to overcome with your epilepsy?
Definitely overcoming the bullying and the like the kind of like the down talk, because a lot of people would mock me or make fun of me or do basically whatever it is what they shouldn't be doing to get in my head. And so the biggest thing I did was I tried not to snap so that I would get in trouble. So I just took it upon myself and just turned and walked away. And then I talked to somebody about it. That's the biggest thing that I could do.
What is one thing you wish people knew about epilepsy?
I wish people knew how it can really affect people so that they see it from a different perspective. Um, I wish I wish that people could maybe come to an understanding about it or learn more about it so that they're not as freaked out about it. Because I find sometimes people they will feel like intimidated if they see someone have a seizure, even if it's not all that bad. There's a way to handle every seizure, right? Now, if everyone kind of figures out how to handle them or how to react, and I think over time it wouldn't be so much of a bad thing or some like it would be more of just like how do I put it? Just a health concern. Yeah.
Why do you think agencies are important and why should people living with epilepsy reach out to them?
Because they can provide a lot of useful information to people that have epilepsy or are learning about it. Um, they can also provide information to people that would like to learn about it and should know about it. Um, they can also they could probably help a lot of people because people won't know where to find or who to go to about it. But if they do have a resource to go learn about it, then that definitely would help them.
How did your epilepsy come on?
No, I got it um, from, I'll be honest, I got it from my mother not taking care of herself while she was pregnant. So that severely did a lot of damage. I was born early, so that doesn't help. I was born at 28 weeks, 2 pounds 9 ounces, and basically as I grew, the more the older I got, the more faulty my brain developed. And so not only did it give me epilepsy, but it also caused memory issues. It caused like how do I put it? Memory and like my visual memory. So it made me really or made it really hard in school because a lot of times you have to remember things, but you really can't when you have epilepsy because when I would have seizures, I would forget about pretty much everything that happened practically my whole life before that. But then every once in a while, an odd thing will pop up. But also, when I went through my neurosurgery, that made it even worse because the part that they removed was it's what to do with your visual memory and your vision. So I basically lost my whole visual memory and my whole upper left quadrant of vision. And at the same time, I have no longer I have short-term or long-term memory. So it's very hard for me to succeed in school.
What do you feel as a youth deal with epilepsy or face with epilepsy that other people wouldn't understand?
Well, definitely there is like a lot of people like I find a youth like me has to deal with a lot more. Like we have to be more careful about what we do, how we do things, how we manage our bodies and treat ourselves. We need to be more cautious about like how we approach each day because if we slip up or if we do anything that can kind of affect, for example, like the biggest thing for my seizures are it's if I trigger or if I have too much stress in my brain, then it can trigger my seizures. So if I were to be at a very high stress level, then it can cause me to have seizures, like many of them. Um, but now that I am living stress free, I've now been about a month and a half seizure free, so I'm good, yeah.
So you went through surgery first and you've gotten better, but now you have seizures again?
Yeah, so I went through neurosurgery early December 2015, and I went 22 months seizure free. I ended up being able to get my license and, like living a normal life. Um, and then all of a sudden, like, I started getting into the work world and I was doing great. I was holding jobs. I was working one job. I was there for a year and a half. And then I had my first grand mal seizure in 22 months. And I told them the next day that I may or may not have to call in here and there because I know you never know when I'm going to have a seizure, right? Because I don't have any triggers. It's just they happen at random. And the shift after that, they fired me. So then I moved on to my next job, and they hired me, told me that it was going to be part time, 25 hours a week. My first week there, they gave me 25 hours a week, and then after about a month, they fired me because I had to call in once. And then I moved on to my third job, and they only kept me for literally 3 days because my second day there I had a petit mal seizure and then continued my job while I stayed there and worked, and they let me. And then the next day I went in and they gave me the boot. I walked in the door and they said, "Sorry, but we don't want you anymore," was their excuse. Basically, I've worked 7 jobs. I've gone through 7 jobs because of my condition and people not understanding it. I feel like people need to come to understand it more so that it's not seen as a problem. It's more so just it's something that people like me and other epileptics can't really help. The the best thing we can do is try to find the right medication, but some of us, the only thing that the medication will do is lower the number. It won't always cure us. Um, but I mean, other than that, I've only had one job, and it's the job I'm working now that has been understanding. I've had to call in for seizures about, I'd say, 8 times in the last 6 months, and they still have kept me because the owner of the store he's just a great guy, and you would never have anything against him. He treats his workers absolutely right, and he pulled me into his office after I had my first seizure, and he said, "I don't want you to ever stress over losing your job. You're a great worker, and it's discriminatory if I were to fire you over that. So that's about it.
Questions or anything you'd like to talk about, add, or
I'd just like to share with people that they don't need to be scared of seizures or anyone with epilepsy. They just need to be very understanding, and if you can't be understanding, then um, try to become as comfortable as you can, because a lot of people with epilepsy struggle, and people need the moral support and the mental support from both people around them and their families. And it doesn't help when people don't see it or don't understand it. It can cause a lot of problems.